Ladies and gentlemen, it is precisely the people on the ground that have the most to lose. And when they lose, that is the point in which they give up. They become either less participative or, worst case scenario, they leave. They go out of the country and go to a country which caters them in a better capacity. Note the importance of these sectors. Things like teachers, like nurses, like doctors, professions who have the expertise and huge responsibility to continue towards the wellness of the state. My Prime Minister told you that in order to best serve our country and to have all of those benefits catered to, then you have to follow these specialists, these experts. We need to give power to those who make our system work. 3 things in DPM. First, rebuttals, then my extensions, and then lastly, a few pieces of weighing. Number 1, onwards to rebuttals. First, LO said that these current government actors are still rational actors. And we actually agree with that. But the missing link between a rational actor and an effective actor is the competency that exists on a higher level for these actors that we on government side propose. Again, let's take a look at Sara Duterte, which, yes, is a rational person who may listen to experts within the field, but her heading the entire Secretary of Education probably is a blunder, right? Because number 1, she isn't a teacher, and number 2, she doesn't really understand the nuances related to being a teacher in the first place. So they asserted that these appointed individuals see the macro or bigger picture as opposed to sectoral reps who see only micro effects. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a chicken and egg problem, but these small-scale problems or small-scale observations actually become the big picture risks, the big picture problems within the long term. We literally saw this on COVID, where doctors were claiming or were trying to warn the public for themselves in order to save the public, but appointed positions within the government prioritized the economy, prioritized those things which led to 4 years or 3 years of isolation and lockdown. Number 2, they said that these things are eventually going to happen anyways. No, I don't understand why they made the case for Sara Duterte and how people actually clamored for her not getting appointed, and guess what happened? It still did. On our side of the house, we tell you that the change that these people actually want will be far more catered to when you listen to these individuals. 3, they said that it will be worst for democracy because of all those things and how it derives and destroys the check and balance procedure that we have. We'll actually take the trade-off. I'm so sorry to say this, but yes, we'll actually take the trade-off of being less democratic to protect against the very worst sins of democracy that propagate and exist up to this point. Because even when they claim rationality and protecting the principle of democracy, it is precisely because of their dogma to protect these types of democratic institutions that they let propagate a lot of harmful problems like cronyism, like nepotism, like how so many people in our government today are run by the same 5 families. We tell you that on opposition side, status quo, all of these things will still continue to propagate. All of these things will still continue to fester. Duterte will probably be Secretary of Defense, I don't know, next term. All of those things will still continue to propagate when we don't have the veto power in order for those people to say, no, we want someone better, we want someone far more capable, even if they're on the same level of rationality, whatever that is. Number 4, and lastly, they said that the various things will still happen. And I think LO really didn't listen to what my partner said. At that point, at the point in which they do become corrupt, guess what? They are going to be the ones that handle the burden of that corruption, which acts as a disincentive structure for them to just stop or give them a moment to rest and give them a moment to actually recalibrate and reorganize themselves in order to not have that type of corruption in the first place. More on that in a bit. Extension number 1, catering to the vote of specialists enables them to get the necessary change they may want. Why is this true? Having a representative that they want in the position of a government agency enables them to prioritize things that are nuanced and that are small on their side. The same way you probably want an economist to head the Department of Trade and Industry. The problem that exists exclusively in opposition side is that the representation and change that they admit might happen like further along the line happens way too slowly. We think that change is not the end all be all of things, but effective change is. Note that was already brought up by my partner Joseph. We should inherently trust these people who are given more time, that they're the ones who are going to be the most affected, because to emphasize, at the point in which they are corrupt, that will serve as the catalyst for them to deal with that problem that they created themselves. This is as opposed to status quo, wherein these sectorial groups don't have the leverage this policy gives them, which makes shitty, unnuanced, and incompetent people more likely to stay for the long term. Another extension, why only through vetoing can you actively push for effective change? We tell you that often within these groups, there may exist a point person they can turn to hold their interests at heart. Similar to how trade unions have their own type of political structure. What then happens as a result is that it creates an amazing amount of leverage on the side of these specialized people to choose the leader that they want through proxy, i.e. not settling until they get someone good. To preempt what Op already said that, oh, what if they never pick a person, or oh, what if they're so corrupt? Well, then we tell you that they'll feel the ramifications of that choice and push them to pick someone. The exclusive benefit that you get on our side is that on average, the people in these sorts of government seats will be far more capable, far more competent, far more nuanced, without having the added caveat of crony politics you get in status quo inside opposition. What impacts does this have? Number 1, it acts as a safeguard against corruption and stagnation of leadership, i.e. things like VP Duterte being DepEd head, like, I don't know, no disrespect, but what does she know about education, right? And number 2, you get change more quickly. Opposite, oh, is this veto actually necessary? We tell you that yes, if you want people to continue being here, if you want people to actively ask for change and actually get that change, then yeah, give them the veto. For all those reasons and more, proud.